Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on a pretty sunny, but let's face it, a pretty gloomy Sunday morning, the day after Arsenal have been beaten 5-0 at Manchester City. 3 games in the league now, 3 defeats, no goals scored, 9 goals conceded. Arsenal go into the national break bottom of the Premier League. It's the first time in the club's long history that they've ever lost their first 3 league games without conceding a goal. It's the first time in Premier League history that they've sat bottom of the Premier League after more than just 2 games. So many firsts being achieved this season. Unfortunately, they're not firsts that anyone wants to shout about or remember. Really, really difficult times for Arsenal. I think we were all expecting it was going to be a difficult game yesterday. It always is when they play Manchester City. They tend to get hammered, to be truthful, and given the way they've started the season, given some of the players were missing, you expected it was going to be difficult again. But man, that was one big, meek surrender, wasn't it? Look, I've got to hold my hands up. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the press conference. I didn't even see the first half. I started watching in the second half because I had to look after my kids yesterday. I've seen the highlights, so I've read what Mikel had to say in the press conference afterwards. I think that it's just a really bad afternoon for him. We'll talk about plenty of the team selection and things like that, and some of the mad things that happened on the pitch. But this is what he had to say after the game. He said, looks really disappointed with the way things happened on the pitch. Obviously, the summary after 3 games and losing the 3 of them, it doesn't make things easier. We started the game well, took the game where we wanted, but in the first action, the ball is wide. We didn't stop the cross or deal with the runners or defend with the box well enough. And if you do that here, it's impossible to win football matches. There's so many basic things that we could have done better. After that, conceded the second, which I think is a clear foul, clear punch on Callum Chambers. And then went down to 10 men for 60 minutes against the best team in the league. A very difficult day. Yeah, and it absolutely was a very difficult day. Now, just a few things I wanted to talk about the game. We've got to start with the team selection. I was, again, hold my hands up, I was in McDonald's with my kids getting them a Happy Meal when the team came through yesterday. And I looked at my phone. I sat there for about 20 minutes looking at my phone, trying to work out exactly what was going on and who was going to play where, and the fact that Sead Kolasinac, I just can't get my head around the fact that Sead Kolasinac played yesterday. It was just a really mad decision. A player Arsenal gave away basically for the second half of last season, just shoved him out the door to Schalke. Have been spending all summer trying to get rid of him now. And then suddenly bring him back in against Manchester City away. Now, I know Pablo Mari had a difficult game against Chelsea last weekend, but look, that was against Romelu Lukaku. He completely bullied him. He wasn't going to face a striker like that against Manchester City. You can't tell me that Kolasinac is better than Pablo Mari. It was just a really strange decision for me. And again, you kind of look at that, and it's impossible not to think you got William Saliba out on loan. I don't want to talk about Saliba because, look, let's face it, he's not here. He's gone. That's done. You've got to wait for him to come back next season. But it's hard when you see decisions like that and you suddenly see Sead Kolasinac starting in centre-back, and you think, well, why on earth did you send William Saliba away if you've got that little confidence in Pablo Mari that you're going to start playing Sead Kolasinac after just 3 games ahead of him? Just really strange. I didn't understand the fact that Partey didn't have a proper partner in midfield. You know, Mikel tends to try and do something clever against Manchester City. You kind of think he's at London Colney all week working out how he can outwit Pep Guardiola, but let's face it, he's not going to outwit Pep Guardiola, and he paid the price. Arsenal were really, really poor defensively. They had a bit of a horror show. Cedric Suarez had a nightmare at right back. Callum Chambers didn't play well. Rob Holding struggled. Their positioning for so many of the goals was all wrong. It was just a really, really difficult afternoon, and I think Mikel has to take a big proportion of the blame for that team selection, because it was just a strange one. I don't think Arsenal would have won had he played Pablo Mari. I don't think Arsenal would have got a point had he played Pablo Mari. But it just sent out all the wrong messages for me playing Sead Kolasinac. It just added to the confusion that's kind of around Arsenal at the moment. What way did he deserve to play that game? It was just really confusing team selection, and yeah, it's not ideal for Mikel after the start to the season he's had, and yet more questions are quite rightly being asked of him Now, I mean, he was asked about it. He was asked about his critics. He was asked about if he still believes he can get the best out of his players. This is what he had to say. And in response to his critics, he said, "I don't think today is the day to talk about any process. Today we have to talk about the result and what happened on the pitch, and that's it." And then he was asked, do you still believe you're the right man to get to do this job and get the best out of this group of players? And he said, "Yes, I do. I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't." So Mikel trying to be very sort of front up and take some of the blame for it, but also saying that he still believes he can get the best out of his job, out of this group of players. Whether he can, that remains to be seen. The fact is, he's under huge amounts of pressure at the moment. I'd be very surprised if Arsenal made a change in this international break. You never know. They might decide to pull the trigger after a performance like that. I don't know. But from the messages we get from Arsenal, they're still, certainly before the Manchester City game, the backing was still there for Mikel Arteta and this project. Whether a 5-0 drop in at Manchester City changes that, we'll have to wait and see. But I would be surprised. The fact is, it's these games after the international break now where he has got absolutely no room for error. Arsenal played Norwich immediately after the international break at home. Norwich are above them by the nature of the one goal they've scored this season in the Premier League. So that's a battle of the bottom two at the Emirates. After the international break, then they go to Burnley, then they have Tottenham, then they have Brighton. So 4 absolutely massive games for Mikel Arteta. He has absolutely no room for error. After that, in those games, he's going to go into it, you would hope, with pretty much a fully fit squad for the first time this season. Ben White should be back, Thomas Partey should be back, Gabriel will be back. Aubameyang and Lacazette are now back. Odegaard will have settled in even more. So, he's got. There are no excuses. There can be no excuses now. He has to start getting results, and he has to start getting them quickly, because if he doesn't, he's going to get the sack. No doubt about it. I know plenty of you think he should get the sack right now. I don't think he could have any complaints if Arsenal said to him this morning, "Thanks a lot, Mikel, you're gone," because let's face it, look at the league table, look at the results. He couldn't have any complaints. Certainly not when you look at the mess that's being served up on the pitch. It's not even the results, to be fair, at the moment. It's the performances. They're not good enough. There's nothing to Arsenal. You don't watch them and think, what is Arsenal at the moment? They're so easy to play against because they don't threaten you, they don't create chances, they don't have shots on goal, and they're awful at the back. So they are a mess. It's as simple as that, and that was plain for everyone to see in the game last night. So if Arsenal sacked Mikel today, as I said, he could have absolutely no complaints, because what he's doing just isn't good enough and isn't working at the moment. Having said that, I don't think they will. I still think he'll get this period of games after the international break, and that is when he will be truly judged by those upstairs at the club. Some quite interesting talks from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang after the game. He was talking to BT Sport, and he said, "Look, there's going to be talks between the players. They're going to have to hold training ground talks now between the squad. Whether that'll be without Mikel, we'll have to wait and see. Pierre's the captain. Obviously, he could get everyone together in the changing room." He says, "I think we need to talk between us players. I think this is now important because we are Arsenal and we need pride. That's it. We have to talk and say the truth between each other, be honest, and raise the level." So you would think that Aubameyang, certainly by those comments, has got a lot of plans during this international break to get everyone together, those players who are still going to be at the club anyway and aren't going off to their international teams, to really have a proper post-mortem about exactly what has gone wrong in these opening 3 games and try and work out what they can do as players to get the team firing again and get results, because this is an embarrassing situation for Arsenal. Absolutely. Yes, they've played Chelsea. Yes, they've played Manchester City. But even so, to be bottom of the Premier League table after the first 3 games going international break without having scored a single goal is embarrassing for a club like Arsenal. It truly, truly is. And yes, Mikel Arteta has to take the blame for that. He's the manager, but the players also have to take the blame for that, because what they're producing on the pitch isn't good enough. And you would hope these talks that they're going to have to say, they're going to have between themselves, might generate some sort of response after the international break. And Pierre went on, he said, "Everyone needs to raise their level, look at themselves in the mirror and work out as a team and stick together. This is the only way to go forward. We have to play with courage in this type of game. You have to play with everything. You have to take risks, and we didn't do that against Man City." And that's it. Now, Granit Xhaka got sent off again for a ridiculous tackle. I know, yes, a lot of people say he got the ball. Yes, he may well have got the ball, but you cannot tackle like that. It's a red card. It absolutely, especially away from home, and the fact that you're Granit Xhaka, you are going to get sent off 9 times out of 10 for that. It was 2-0. There was nothing dangerous on where the ball was. He didn't need to do that. He gave the referee a decision to make. It was stupid of Granit Xhaka for a player so inexperienced when the team's already 2-0 down. The teammates needed one of their experienced players to stand up and try and get them through it and help them through it, and he goes and gets himself sent off. It was just madness, and it was classic Granit Xhaka costing his team when they needed him. And I was so surprised to see Mikel Arteta give him that little pat on the back as he walked off, because Arteta should have been absolutely fuming with him. And it just raises the question again as to why exactly Arsenal have decided to not only keep Granit Xhaka this summer but giving him a brand new contract. It just doesn't make any sort of sense to me that, you know, this is a player who they were happy to let go this summer. If Roma had bid the money that Arsenal are asking, he would be in Italy right now, yet he wasn't, and somehow he started the season as captain in Aubameyang's absence and been given a new long-term contract. Again, it just sends out mad signals to me about exactly what sort of direction things are going in the club in terms of Mikel Arteta, but in terms of Edu and the ownership and Tim Lewis and Vinay. It's just a really strange one for me that players who the club were happy to let go this summer are now suddenly in the team and letting the team down. And I thought Xhaka let the team down yesterday, I have to say. And he'll be missing for 3 games now in those really key games after the international break, and he's only got himself to blame, in my opinion. Just a quick one on Nicolas Pepe. I've had a few questions about him and why, you know, has he got COVID? Arsenal is saying at the moment that it's not COVID related, this illness. He just travelled up with the team, was ill the night before, sort of felt ill night before, but it's not COVID related, we are told at the moment. So that is one plus point. Hopefully you think, because if it wasn't, you think, oh no, the COVID is still around the training ground, there could be more players who go down with it, but hopefully we've seen the end of the COVID outbreak at Arsenal. Fingers crossed that remains the same. So it's off to the international break now for everyone. Bit of time to reflect, bit of time for the players to stay at Colney who aren't going away, to have these talks that Aubameyang's talking about and really sort themselves out and take a good, long, hard look at themselves and try and work out exactly what's going wrong. It's going to give Mikel Arteta more time to work with the players. You'd hope it's going to give players like Gabriel, Thomas Partey time to make sure they are fully fit, Ben White as well, to hit the ground running once the international break is over and once that game against Norwich rolls around. So it's a really important period this for Arsenal now. And we've got the transfer deadline coming up on Tuesday evening as well. Whether Arsenal can get anything done between now and then, we'll have to wait and see. They're leaving it late, as I've said in previous videos. I still think if they are going to get anything done, it will be a right back. It's just a case of if they can get a deal done. Can they get Hector Bellerin out? You know, will he end up just going out on loan just to get the wages off the wage bill and free up space in the squad? It might end up being the case. Arsenal have been wanting to sell Bellerin all summer. They haven't had any takers that sort of at the level that they want in terms of money. Inter Milan have been interested in Real Betis. Remain interested, I'm told, but would only want a loan. So whether that is something that ends up happening right at the end of the transfer window, we'll have to wait and see. And if it does, that will certainly help Arsenal in terms of freeing up space in the squad to bring in a right back, because I think we've seen it's pretty clear from the start of this season that Arsenal need to get that right back situation sorted. And what will happen with Willian as well. Briefings coming from Willian's people that he's ready to rip up his contract and walk away and go to Corinthians to get forced through his move to Corinthians. That would save Arsenal about £20 million over the next 2 years, if that is the case. Now, I haven't had that confirmed from Arsenal's side. That's the word that's coming out from Willian and his side at the moment, which is obviously a very strong PR game there. And it'll be interesting. If it is, then absolutely. If it's true, then fair play to Willian. And Arsenal will be absolutely delighted with that, because it will save them some serious money that could be spent elsewhere. But as I said, I haven't had that confirmed from club side yet, so I'll have to wait and see what happens over the next couple of days in terms of Willian and whether he does get this move to Corinthians sorted. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. Please do enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Try and forget about Arsenal for a day or so. Go out, enjoy the sunshine, have fun with your families, have fun with your friends, go and have a beer, and just try and forget about the mess that Arsenal are in at the moment. Until next time, everyone, have a good day.